So I would say, if I have to, basically, of course, there are many, but if I have to take three, then I would say one which I learned in my first company out of my campus job, basically was to take complete ownership of whatever you do. And then, of course, it's easier said when you are basically at a higher level, but when you're starting a career also, or even a middle level, it's always very important to own whatever task is given to you end to end. Look at basically what if, what next, if this doesn't happen, what will happen? Because every time the questions which you get asked or the task, the way you do it, it's always about, have you looked at it in the complete span or not? If you only say this is what was given to me, this is I've completed, but what effect it has, what other people who may be involved in that have taken that into full cognizance, work with that, I think is very, very important. So the one thing which has worked well for me from day one has been around the ownership. Every job which I did was around ownership. Of course, when I had my own ventures, ownership became a lot more important, but I would believe that anybody who's looking in his or her career should make sure that they take complete ownership. Sometimes it could be seen as you are stepping on somebody else's toes, and you can step back if it is very, very difficult to deal with. That differentiates people from like doers to leaders. Other thing which I believe has worked well for me, and I always try to practice it with my team as well, is that you should focus on people's strengths and see how you can leverage those strengths, because the way we have been trained by and large is only about looking at what is not good about us, and then we continuously work about saying, okay, this is my weakness. We always do SWOT analysis, and weaknesses get a lot more focus than S gets actually. But in my philosophy and in practice, I make sure that whether it's for myself or for my team, I always focus on what are their strengths and what I can do about leveraging those strengths to the maximum. Of course, you work on your weaknesses, but you work on your weaknesses in parallel with only that much focus that is required for you to get going, because you should know that in your weakness areas, your pace will be slower. You are strong in certain area for a certain reason. Correct? If Tendulkar is good in batting, he is good in batting. He can bowl, but he cannot become like Shane Warne or something. You can try and take 100 wickets, but he's not Shane Warne. And he should continuously make sure that he spend lot more time on his batting. So I would say that's again something which is very, very important, both from philosophy as well as from practice perspective. Third thing which has worked well for me, we should not only be focused on goals, we should also focus on the process and the steps to get to that. This is again something which we see in corporate life with a lot of people. Once you set up a goal, people always worry how that will get done, if it doesn't get done, what will happen, is that number right, and so on and so forth. And many times along the way, we don't have the complete focus on the process. What are the steps necessary? Am I looking at small steps every day and making sure that it should all add up to the larger goal? Many times you get so lost in the larger goal. I'm just like, it could be about anything. It could be any revenue number, it could be profitability, it could be employee satisfaction, any area which you take. People always many times get lost in the larger thing. You build a larger picture by all means, then create the small steps and make sure those small steps get followed every day rigorously actually, because those only will add up to the larger picture. That's again something which I've experienced in my own career, has worked well for me to basically look at every problem in a bite-sized way, focus on those steps, close that, big picture automatically comes actually. So those are three things, if you ask me, which have worked well for me. So.